Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, as always, Chad Porto. Joining me is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, today's show is Grinch II Electric Boogaloo, starring Moose, the Child Dream Puncher, and we're going to talk about all of that at the top of the show. But Marcus, how the hell are you?
Doing okay, man. Should be a fun one.
So, Bound for Glory was Saturday night. It went off the air around 12:45 a.m. Sunday morning. I don't like that it was so late in the day, but on the other hand, it actually ended up working out quite well because I was busy until about 9. So that was one of those situations where things kind of just worked perfectly for me. How did we feel about this? Like, did you think the late start time was a good thing? Please tell me we haven't lost the internet already. Oh, Marcus muted himself. That seems to be the issue. So while we wait for Marcus to come back, I do think the late start time had its benefits and its limitations. Like, even though it's a Saturday night, you don't want your kids staying up till 1 in the morning, especially for a wrestling show. On the flip side, definitely catered to a more older audience, and that worked out nicely, especially with some of the the wrestlers in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet coming out. One of them was definitely a hardcore throwback, but we'll get to him eventually. So there were some pluses and minuses, in my opinion. Marcus, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Technical. Just yeah, but I'm back.
Thoughts on the late start time?
Yeah, wasn't necessarily the biggest fan because it started to get almost lapsed in my mind for a second. Um, but then I ended up catching it late, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because I catch the beginning of it. But um, I think you said what was the reason for that particular?
I think the reason for why they did that was to not interfere with AEW,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Oh yeah, because they had to because of down. Yeah. Okay. Still doing them favors, ain't that some?
Right.
On the last night, partnership still doing them favors. Okay, well, narrative.
So, how did you feel about the late start time, though? Did it work for you?
I mean, it was fine because I mean it was a Saturday, so I didn't really mind it too much. But I hope that that's the last time they do that. But I did appreciate it that it was on Saturday. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, but it didn't bother me too much.
I appreciate the Saturday shows, even if it's an 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. start time. It definitely
Yeah.
definitely has its benefits. So let's look at the show, and we're going to start with the obvious conclusion. We'll get to the rest of the show though. We're going to go out of order tonight because it's one of those shows. Main event was Josh Alexander versus Christian Cage. Josh ends up winning via submission. He gets him in an ankle lock, and then he hooks Christian's arm with his leg, and I don't remember if he drops down or not, but he basically immobilizes Christian. Christian taps out. A couple things to note. One, Josh Alexander is clearly the best worker on the roster, finally supplanting Eddie Edwards. Two, this is the first major pay-per-view event that Christian Cage has ever headlined by himself. In his heyday, the big three were Lockdown, Slammiversary, and Bound for Glory. And if my memory serves me correctly, the only one I think he may have headlined was Lockdown '06, but I don't think that went last because while he did have a great feud with Abyss going at that time, that was Sting's second match back. And I just don't see Sting being put in second place for Christian. Sorry. So you can look that up yourself, but in all those 9 shows across 3 years, never headlined a show on one. He did have some main events, and he did have, I think, a couple appearances in the Lockdown '07 main event, I want to say, the Slammiversary '08. or '07 main event, I want to say. Even the '06, yeah, he was in the '06 main event of Slammiversary as well. But that was a King of the Mountain match. So this is his first main event marquee matchup at Bound for Glory. And in the record books, it no longer is. So they did Christian dirty, technically. It's still, I still count it as a headline because he was the main drawing focus of the show alongside Josh Alexander. So that was cool. I liked it all. It's very, very good main event match. Maybe even on our year-end awards, we're going to start talking about those next week. But then we get the ending where Moose, who earlier in the night won the Fight for Your Right, over-the-top Gauntlet Battle Royal, X Division Championship for Bound for Glory, something or other. They've named it so many goddamn things over the years. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. Sorry, there it is. Moose wins that, comes in at the end of the show and defeats Josh Alexander, pissing off the internet and setting ablaze to everything. Like, the folks over at Wrestle Talk were so very upset about this. So very upset. But Marcus, do you want to hear why I'm not?
Other than the well, go ahead and say it because it wasn't a guessing question.
it was very much a hypothetical. No, not hypothetical. Whatever it is. Yeah, I was not expecting an answer. The reason why I'm not upset about it, Marcus, is because I even tweeted out a somewhat predictable but fine ending. Like, we knew Alexander was winning. I didn't know Moose was going to cash in. So the minute he did, I'm just like, huh. You shocked me. You shocked me with your deviant behavior. That's a quote from Empire Record, if you caught it.
We don't. Yeah,
So,
I mean, look, we haven't gotten them often in the Impact, but that's the first time it felt like, in hindsight, it was a good F finish because they've set records for bad F finishes, a la Samoa Joe being dragged to hell.
Creative hell.
Yeah. Because ultimately, it's full circle for Moose in that moment. He has been wanting nothing since he finally put the whole old TNA championship thing to bed. His whole trajectory has been at that world title. Everything he went after with Swan, stuff with Callahan, going through stuff like everything. He's kind of been deterred a lot since that time. Since Swan barely escaped him. And since then, he's had varying feuds, only got with Big Cass essentially as a term of good business. Told him that when they first started. So when he screwed him out of and eliminated him, that was step one. Step two was winning, and step three was cashing in. And what better way to do that than, I mean, as he did it in the most douchebag way possible, which, Moose has been the king of douches in his heel run. So I think it was full circle for him. And it sets up Alexander of kind of like Edwards finally got to the mountaintop and then got knocked off it. And really in a decent way, because what better distraction than trying to get your family out of harm's way. I thought it was a little slight because I'm like, wouldn't it be the referee's job to kind of make sure that the wife and son was kind of, then again, kind of not. So, I mean, he had one job, and that was to, acknowledge the call your shot. So, like I said, it was probably one of the better F finishes they've done. This gets the belt on Moose finally. Obviously, it screws Alexander, but it's like, this is the perfect way to get even more momentum behind him. So.
Yeah, and, as much as I am putting over the finish and the fact that it got me, like, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
There is a part of me that is kind of, I agree to a certain extent with some of the criticism on you only get one first.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to point out, like, a lot of people saying this about Alexander, said nothing about Daniel Bryan's, first WWE Championship win. Ended in 12 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever it is when Randy Orton came out at SummerSlam and just... And let's be honest, even though they had the World Heavyweight Championship at the time, there was an obvious difference in title significance. The World Heavyweight title was the new Intercontinental title. It was the opener. It wasn't the headline. So when he won it and Orton took it from him, everyone's like, oh no, but no one, thumbed their nose down at Bryan. So it's like, I
Yeah,
don't know why you're doing it now.
and Brian, and we all know, just like with a lot of these movies and film Twitter and these fake ass goofy critics, it's always selective convenience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I like, it gets the attention, and what I kind of thumb my nose down it, I got 1,000,002 criticisms for it. Because Punk had the same trajectory. His first title win wasn't worth a damn either, and that was off of Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Oh God.
So it's not. I mean, again, selective memories. With selective history, of course, WWE is the master of that, and I guess it's apropos that a lot of its audience does that as well. But at the end of the day, no matter how I think people can feel about the finish, and you can feel however you want to feel about it, because we don't do that here and tell you how to feel. That's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, Chad, whether it's Moose or Alexander, where is the Impact title now?
Home.
Thank you. Why is that not the narrative? How long have we been talking about this damn AEW basically having Impact bent over for feels like 2 years, probably obviously less than that, but it feels like 2 years bent over at every possible point of relevance for Impact to actually get an upper hand. And now the title's finally home, and they still bitching and moaning and complaining about it. It's home. We'll deal with the fallout of that later, but let's do it in-house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we could just get the belt off freaking Good Brothers.
Yeah, and that might be happening soon, possibly. Apparently, the AEW and Impact partnership is over. And what I'll say is, it did what it needed to do. It got people talking about Impact, and it even got some eyes on it. So I think all in all, it was significant and meaningful, but that partnership had to end because it was very much a one-sided love affair. And as someone who's been in that on both ends of the spectrum, no one wants to be in that. No one wants to be in a one-sided love affair. There's clearly a lot more Impact was doing for AEW than vice versa. It was kind of like this idea, like Impact will do all of the actual physical labor, and AEW will let Impact sit with them at lunch. That's what it felt like. It helped, yes, but it also felt very unfair. Now, the New Japan deal, significantly different. And I'm hoping that because like right now you're not seeing a lot of Impact stars go to Impact. You're seeing a few of them pop up in Strong at the moment, which is the American arm of New Japan. If you're new to the company, so we've seen Alexander. I think Chris Bay's done a spot. TJP, although I don't know if his is on loan, so to speak, as his contract may be over with Impact. He may just be doing his own thing at this point. I think. Not Swan. Who am I thinking of? Somebody else I think went over and did some stuff with Strong too at one point. But no one's done anything with New Japan proper right now because of travel restrictions in Japan. So I think when that lightens up here in 2022, I think you're going to see a lot more guys doing spots, probably as soon as maybe the Dome show in January. And Alexander and Eddie Edwards and Moose, Joe Doring, 4 dudes right there who have significant Eastern Japan style wrestling experience that would do very well over there. And they haven't done anything like that. I think 2010 they did. Or was it 2011? Because Jeff Hardy was champion at the time, I think. Yeah, so I want to say it was 2011 they did something with New Japan.
Yeah, I mean, but look, man, I was talking about this on a True Penny show. Like, we got like Jay White and Minoru Suzuki in Impact in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like at that point, I don't even really care about AEW. It's disappointing because they could have did a lot more. Like, have people obviously go to their show. Like, if nothing else than had the women. Like, we got one of the best women in the world right now as our champion. Well, had. Started the new one. I'm just saying. Indiana, and you didn't like have her go over there and do nothing with a Nala or not necessarily our favorite, but she's your champion in Britt Baker. Like we got a taste of greatness, and this definitely going on one of the match of the year candidates with Thunder Rosa. But that was about it, and that was a kind of in between thing because she signed after that, I think. So they could have did a lot more, but obviously, like we said, it was one sided. It always came off like AEW was doing Impact a favor, and they never let them forget it.
Yeah.
So, I really can't be mad at that specifically. It's like, okay, look, we lost Kenny Omega, but we got Minoru Suzuki. Forgive me if I ain't in the corner boo-on.
No, I'm not. Kenny Omega is a hell of an in-ring worker, but I'll say this about him: I don't give a shit about his promos. I don't think he's very. I think he's more ego than he is personality. Like you listen to Stone Cold Steve Austin talk because he is his character. You listen to Kenny Omega speak, and you're almost kind of like, I don't know, you're a tryhard. So like, I'm out.
You're a try hard. I'm out. Sick shirt.
So 2011 had Beer Money in the opener with Giant Bernard and Carl Anderson when they were known as Bad Intentions, and Muscle Orchestra, which had Manabu, not Nakanishi. I think I said that right. And John Anderson when he was known as Strong Man. Mascarada Dorada and La Sombra defeated Hector Garza Sr. and Yushin Thunder Liger. Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Takashi Iizuka. Rob Van Dam defeated your boy Toru Yano. In a match that I may go back and watch because fuck yeah. Yuji Nagata defeated Minoru Suzuki. Fergal Devitt defeated Kota Ibushi with Kenny Omega. Takashi Sugura and Yoshihiro Takayama defeated Hiroki Goto and Kazuchika Okada. Now, there's a tag team I didn't remember. Jeff Hardy defeated Tetsuya Naito for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Go Suzuki. Togi Makabe defeated Masato Tanaka. And the main event featured Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Satoshi Kojima for the IWGP Heavyweight title. So that was the last time Impact had anything to do with the Dome show that I remember. So maybe we'll see more of it. But before we see more of that, let's talk about the rest of Bound for Glory. So the opener saw, I guess the pre-show match, saw Jordan Grace win the Intergender Impact Digital Media Championship, and I'm shocked. I didn't watch it. I didn't give a fuck. I don't like intergender wrestling, and I'm not going to support it. Just how I am. Don't want to see it. Don't need to see it. Thankfully, though, most of the people in this match were guys that I didn't care about besides Fala and Crazy Steve. So, like, cool. Skylar, Madison Rain, Fala, Crazy Steve, and Chelsea Green were in it. Jordan Grace gets the win. She's the inaugural Impact Digital Media Championship. Now, the title itself is going to be defended on YouTube, Twitter. Like, it's done as a way to try to bring digital media eyes to their products beyond just on Impact. So, like, we may never actually see it defended on TV or pay-per-view. And I'm down with that idea.
The 24/7 title of the internet?
Pretty much. Like, I'm fine with never seeing it defended. Deuces. Like, now, you could have easily just made this as a secondary women's title. Like, that would have been fine. I don't know why we have to do this intergender shit. I don't know. Call me weird. Did you see it? Do you have any thoughts on it? Do you want to just move on?
Yeah, look, she like it, I love it, but yeah, it was one of the least important things on the show. So.
The inspiration with Cassie Lee and Jessica McKay, they're referring to them a lot as Cassie and Jesse, which I guess makes sense. Defeated Decay to win the Knockouts Tag Team titles. There was some snobbery with the reviews on this show. I like this match. I thought it was the best match that the tag team, formerly known as the Iconics, now known as the Inspiration, has ever had. Either that's an indictment against the WWE Women's Division, or it's a testament to how good they actually are outside the WWE umbrella. Either way, here we are. I'm not saying it was a great match. I'm just saying it's the best they've ever looked.
Yeah, I gotta go back and watch it thoroughly. But the first thing I thought was, they got that old classic TNA signing bonus.
Yup.
And bonus, I mean, their first match. Titles Um, but yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a little bit of mixture of both, and they certainly got something to prove because I don't think they wanted to leave, but when you get let go, you get let go. So, um, like I said, they got something to prove, and obviously, I'm never advocating at all for a or celebrating a Rosemary loss, but you know, it happened. Like I said, I go back and watch the match more thoroughly to see if they caught him slipping or whatnot. Obviously, they have, I guess, a speed, a mobility advantage potentially. Both of them being similar size, but yeah, we see what they do. I'm not looking forward to promos, specifically if they're in a similar vein of what they was giving in WWE. But I'll give them a chance. That's all I can do. Give them a chance.
I'm fine with Cassie wrestling and Jesse speaking. I think I did that right. It's the other way around that I don't want to have to deal with. The belts were reintroduced in January of this year. This is now the fifth different team, or fourth different team, fifth different time the title has changed hands since the return of the titles. So, Fire and Flavo won the inaugural, held it for 99 days, then Jordan Grace and Richard Holdering held it for 20 days. Fight and Flavo got it back and held it for another 63 days. Decay won it at Slammiversary and then lost it on Bound for Glory. Fun factoid, not counting Eric Young and ODB's title reign, which was mostly them not defending the belts, so I don't really count it. Fight and Flava are the longest reigning knockout tag team title champions of all time, including the first go-around of the belts. So, just pointing that one out.
Let it be known, your minds, let it be blown.
Y'all. Speaking of blowing minds, that's all El Phantasmo, Steve Macklin, and Trey Miguel did in their triple threat X Division title match. Go Steve Macklin.
Yeah, man.
We are not Macklin guys, and he impressed us, especially when he tried to kill Miguel.
Look, man, yeah, man. God bless Miguel, man. He's doing it to himself or letting somebody do it to him. Um, but yeah, I was sitting there. I'm like, man, Macklin is really on some other stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they've been giving him time to do some promo work and stuff. And maybe it's just him hitting another gear, man. But he really turned it up for this match. It's not clicked, I don't think, for either one of us leading up to this. Obviously, he has a veracity about himself in his matches and his character. But it's just something about this match, man, where he really he was the standout, and that's against somebody like Trey Miguel, who he's been the highlight reel on these big shows. So I mean, that's saying a lot. Like if he start doing this on a more regular basis, he gonna be somebody to tune into. But even with that performance, he's still not the guy I wanted to win, and thankfully he wasn't.
They had a great showing. I don't think there was any AAA talent. Didn't they say there was going to be AAA talent at the show?
Yeah, I mean that was another thing about the well, at the time, I thought that's why I tied into the lateness of it because I mean, initially when it was announced as this multinational type of show. You got AEW, AAA, New Japan, and maybe somebody else, but That's not what happened. I think we had Laredo Kid, but
Yeah, I was
Laredo
about to
Kid
say
associated with.
correction. Laredo Kid was at the event, so yes, AAA was involved, and New Japan was involved as well. So we had Rocky Romero, and LJP, El Phantasmo. So there were some
Yeah.
guys there. I completely forgot about that, but yeah. So Trey Miguel wins. Really awesome moment. Macklin, I think, needs a mouthpiece. I think actually Macklin may do very well in Violent by Design.
Mm.
I think he could fit in well with them. So we'll see. And I don't think we're going to see much of Phantasmo at the moment. I think he's probably going back to Japan, I would imagine. Although they did just finish up with the what the hell was that? The
G1.
G1. Thank you. And Okada won it and brought back the old IWGP Heavyweight title. I love that.
Not,
That's his briefcase.
I freaking love. I am a Shingo fan to the end, but man, come on.
If he beats Shingo and throws out that shit ass title, oh yes, yes please. Speaking of yes please, Heath took on Violent by Designs, Cody Deaner and Joe Doring. The whole thing was set up for a Rhino and Slater reunion, we got that. It was a nice feel-good moment. But the one thing I noticed, and I think the one reason why the match went the way it did, I think Rhino's got a bum knee. Did you notice that? He was really. I think it was his right knee. He was really favoring.
Yeah, he was walking a little awkwardly. It did feel like it was a good because it was kind of once Rhino got there, the match kind of got to its conclusion rather quickly. Obviously, because the whole thing was centered around a gore, but Uncle Rhino's back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, moving a little gingerly. Like I said, I've always praised him for staying in a certain amount of shape. But even you said this on a previous show, like you got um, that lower half sometimes, because you could be deceived because sometimes that lower half could be in some very decrepit shape,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it more evident that they're try to appear more explosive than they actually are. So
Here's hoping that Rhino and Eddie and a few others are like, you know what? We can cut carbs out of our diet.
yeah, but I will say, boy, Slater's looking jacked. So
Slater's looking
yeah.
jack, and I don't want to say I'm coming around on Slater because I have 3 degrees of wrestling, maybe 4 degrees of wrestling acknowledgement. I have will turn the TV off and not watch anything that like not just an episode. I mean, like if they were to sign anyone that I deem disgusting as a human being, I wouldn't watch the product. Then I have will turn off the segment because I find you boring. Then I have won't turn off the segment because I'm mildly interested. And then I have will tune in to see you. Heath went from category 2, will turn off the segment, to category 3, won't turn off the segment. So he's not someone I'm tuning in for still. But I'm now willing to see what he does. He's not a great in-ring worker, but his his infectious personality is in fact infectious. So 2 thumbs up to Heath Slater. Well, 1 thumb up to Heath Slater. let's not get carried away here. Then we go to Moose winning the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Battle Royal. We're going to go over by the entrance. Chris Sabin was your first entrant. Really wanted him to win. Knew he wasn't going to. We then got the first big debut of the night, or surprise of the night, Rocky Romero. Not seen an Impact since 2006 when I believe he was Black Tiger, which Matt Stryker was referencing on commentary. By the by, D'Lo Brown, very good on commentary.
Yeah, it was cool to hit him too again because we've been settled with Matthews for the back half of them tapings.
Yeah. I like that D'Lo Brown actually talks about strategy in wrestling and how he talks about certain wrestlers have the ability to stretch out the ring, so to speak, and play from a distance while others have to get up close. And this was like a major point, I think, when he was talking about, I think it was either Rocky Romero or Laredo Kid. He was talking about how these guys like to, basically stretch the ring, but you can't do that in this kind of match because when you go to the ropes, you risk being eliminated. And people have said that before. Like, it's not like the first time it's ever been said, but it's the first time I remember in a long time that's been said with such sports and realism acumen. And I really like that.
No, I mean, it seems subtle to other people, but to us,
It fully immerses us.
yeah, because we already suspend a certain level of disbelief when it comes to this in general, the sport in general, specifically on TV. But like when you have those AAA guys and guys with lucha styles in general, these type of matches do them no favors.
No.
Because if you can't walk the ropes or do all that springboard, it makes you look dumb because it's like you just setting yourself up. Why are you going scaling the ropes at all? So that's really a brilliant point to bring up because a lot of that international talent was in this match. So and somebody like Romero who kind of likes to run all over the place has to be very mindful. On top of the fact that he's small, so he's very easy to maneuver in that regard.
Well, they call him Kid for a reason. Madman Fulton comes out there. He didn't last long. Rohit then comes out. Tasha Steeles is your first woman in the match. Rachel Ellering, Savannah Evans. I really like Savannah Evans' whole look. I'm sure you've seen female boxing before.
Yeah, she got a Lay Ali swag to her.
Mm-hmm. Like now, the only difference is like I don't know. I don't. Maybe she doesn't have anything on her ring gear, but like usually you would see like Everlast on the ring gear because it's like a boxing pair of shorts, if you will.
Hmm.
And I don't know if she has anything there, but like she definitely has this authentic athletic vibe, and that's what I think wrestling needs far more of, that and big personalities. So like, two thumbs up. Then my pick to win, Johnny Swinger comes in, and can I just say that if we don't get Johnny Swinger tagging up with entry number 10 for the rest of the year, I'm going to be a sad Chad. Just so sad. Marcus's dream girl, Melina, pops in with a split. She actually does a great spot where she did the full on split. She's like, fucking like, boom. I'm like, ugh, she had to tear something. And then she had, ate the mat afterwards, so that had to suck. And then the greatest surprise in the history of ever, and apparently WCW Worldwide had been like championing for this for some time. The Demon came out. The WCW Kiss Demon, Marcus.
Yeah, I
Like,
was lost. When somebody tweeted like classic TNA.
so the Kiss Demon, for those that are new, was an invention of Gene Simmons and Eric Bischoff. Gene Simmons was the lead guitarist or bassist of Kiss. I think he was the bassist of Kiss. And they came to a deal with the band Kiss where they would introduce a pro wrestler who would main event shows on, I think it was like New Year's Eve. And they would pay like $1 million to Kiss to get the rights to one of their songs, which would be his entrance theme, and the Kiss Demon look. And he was going to be in a main event. Like that was the whole driving point. It failed so hard that they had to invent a special main event attraction on I think it was like what was it, Super Brawl 2000, just to get the contractual obligated main event out of the way. Kind of gives you an idea how much of a flop it was. But Dale Torborg's character kind of took on a life of its own, and people enjoyed it. Like he hung out with the Great Muta and Vampiro for a spell. It was pretty good. And then he came back, and this is the part where a lot of people get lost in the sauce. He came back to TNA in 2005 and 2006, and he even wrestled once. Dale Torborg, the wrestler, actually wasn't just a wrestler. Before he got into wrestling, he was a top prospect, I think, in the Chicago White Sox minor league system. But he took a baseball to the eye once, and I think it damaged his depth perception, which, if you're a baseball player, that's a kind of a big deal. So he retired and became a hitting coach. With a stopover in pro wrestling. So he was still part of the Chicago White Sox. Like he went back to baseball after WCW as a coach. And TNA reached out to him in 2005 and to see if he wanted to do an angle with TNA. And he came in with AJ Pierzynski, who was a White Sox catcher. And they brought in David Eckstein, I think the year after that. And they brought in Bobby Heenan. It was a dumb, silly thing. But Dale Torborg, the man formerly known as the Demon, got to wrestle on pay-per-view again. I think it was Turning Point 2005, I think. So like, that was pretty cool to see him again. And his wife is, I don't know if you remember her, Asia from WCW. Does that one track at all?
Vaguely, yeah.
She was WCW's answer to China.
Yeah, I briefly remember that, seeing that somewhere.
That was his wife. All right, so to clarify, let's see. Okay, here we go. Chris Sabin, Dale Torborg, and Sanjay Dutt defeated the Diamonds in the Rough, David Young, Elite Skipper, and Simon Diamond. And then Dale Torborg returned to the ring in 2007, taking on Lance Hoyt with David Eckstein in his corner. So, if you want to see two Dale Torborg matches in TNA, in the old TNA, there it is. That's your opportunity. Now you can enjoy the Torborginess that was mid-2000s TNA. Torborginess. I hope that catches on. We get Brian Myers out next, followed by Matt Cardona. I will say, even though I don't like Brian Myers, I love this learning tree gimmick. Especially because it has Ziggy Dice.
Yeah, it's making for some entertaining segment, which it's you couldn't have paid me to pay attention to something he was on the show, um, beforehand. But that those interactions between him and I think the kid that he ended up kicking out, the one with the
Sam
big
Beal.
front, right? Yeah, was entertaining to me just because of the responses. So we'll see. But I mean, it's cool that they found something for him to do, and they've grouped people that otherwise wouldn't be getting anything consistently on the show in a singles capacity. So
Hmm. Then we get Laredo Kid, Sam Beal, Rich Swann, Ace Austin, Moose, Eddie, Alicia, and Morrissey to round out the 20 people. The one thing I will say about this match is Eddie did a lot of middle rope stuff, so I thought that was cool. But they never told you what number they were on.
yeah, that was yeah. They did a countdown, but they never said the number or put it on screen, which would have been helpful.
Very
But
helpful.
and maybe they did that because they was like, I guess ultimately it don't matter. It's gonna come down to two people in a match. But
True.
still, details, it's context that matters. Um, yeah, I think my favorite moment out of all this was again husband and wife with the kendo sticks on freaking Big Cass.
Yeah.
Because it's like we don't forget squat, dog. We own your ass until we off your ass. Like you tried to kill him. You put your hands on me. No, you got beef. You finna get screwed over by Moose, but you got beef with us until we done. So
Didn't they call them Kenny and Kendra? Is that what they're calling the sticks now?
yeah, because I watched it at I ended up watching the Knockouts Knockdown, and she pulled out both of them in the Monsters Ball match she had, and ironically went against the hardcore lady herself, Lee. Uh, who am I thinking about? Kendra Lee, not Kendra Lee. You know who I'm thinking about? The undead chick.
Too young?
No, no, the one who went with her, who got fired from Deanna Purrazzo. Why am I
Oh,
blanking
Kimberly.
on her name?
Kimberly. Princess Kimberly.
Yeah, yeah, the hardcore chick herself. So that was fun.
Now, obviously, we know how the show ends with Moose with the title, but Marcus got asked, was this the right move, in your opinion, to go with Moose? Considering, like, we know how it ends, yes, but, like, would you have done this?
If it was me booking the show, honestly, I would have let Alexander have his moment and maybe called his shot in another way down the line.
So you would still
Um,
have had Moose win the gauntlet, though.
yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you had to move because you do that with the because half the names we just said we didn't give a crap about,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna Lish win it, as much as we root for her.
Although that would have been a perfect way to do it.
Yeah, you're not gonna have that was it would have been or I wonder if they would have let that happen. She wins it and then gives it to Eddie or something like that. Who knows? Or would have found a tag partner to go after the tag straps.
Or
Um,
or you could have just had Eddie having both. Like you could have had the last three being Morrissey, Moose, and Lish, with Eddie just getting tossed. Eddie grabs the wrist of both men on the outside of the ring and pulls them down, and Lish kind of like helps lift them from behind, and the two topple out, and Lish can go challenge for the knockout style now. Yay! Because let's be honest, nobody wants to see Mickey James as champion.
hey, look, man, we about to get to that. Respect, but
No,
seriously.
no, you can respect her all you want. I'm just going hardcore boring. Damn it.
Somebody come help Mickey catch the train. That's Chad in the book. Somebody come help her catch the train.
Okay,
Huh?
so
Sakes. Yeah,
Marcus, 1998 Halloween Havoc. Ever see the show?
yeah.
Okay. You remember that there was a Kevin Nash Scott Hall match on that show.
Uh-huh.
In the promo leading up to it, I'll never forget it. Kevin Nash had the sickest of burns for Scott Hall. Now, for those that don't remember, Scott Hall was very much pretending to be a real life alcoholic because he was a real life alcoholic. And they wrote into the show. And Kevin Nash said, Scott, I'm going to say the two words that burn you more than anything. Last call. I want to bring Kevin Nash back
God, man.
and have him stand on the apron as Jordan Grace is behind Mickey James. And have Kevin Nash go, Mickey, I'm going to say three words that's going to burn you more than anything. Catch the train, and then Jordan just rolls her out, like just runs her down. Oh,
Oh
that's
my.
my fantasy segment that I want to book.
That's but it's but also now I almost want to rebook the Call Your Shot Gauntlet because what is a better narrative than because you got Deanna Perrazzo who firmly has her head planted up her own arse as she should, and Mickey who as a legend I guess you could say she's earned that type of attitude but comes off humble ish, and then you have Lish there who they just treat like this gnat that's like, oh, cute, you got a title shot. Yeah, just feel free to cash that in whenever you feel like it. And they literally treat her like nothing. And then they end up booking a proper Money in the Bank thing where she gets them because
And
I mean it makes perfect sense.
all they gotta do, and like this is the way I would do it. Have them in like the middle of like a 20-minute classic, and then you just have Lish come down screaming, like a crazy person. Gets in and starts beating up Deanna Prazzo with the kendo stick, and then like takes off Mickey's head, throws the Call Your Shot like literally like 20 seconds after winning the damn thing, throws it at the ref and like, yeah, I want to do it, and then lays on top and gets the win. She's like, ha ha ha, and then she spends 6 months running away from every challenger she finds, but doing it in like a creative way. Like she'll like pretend to hurt her ankle, then hit like a schoolgirl or an inside cradle on somebody and get the win. I think that would be hilarious. Or like she ties their wrestling boots together so they fall and she just slides them up.
People could say it's lunacy, but anybody that think that that's a worse idea than Mickey being champion and I'm about to bring that train thing full circle. Sorry about your damn luck because it's brilliant.
It is. It really is, considering the alternatives.
Yeah,
So yeah, the Good
yeah,
Brothers.
yeah, the Good Brothers.
Yeah. We gotta talk about this. This was a weak tag match. I think part of the problem is obviously the Good Brothers. And like I don't want to like snob my nose, like I don't want to flick my nose down at New Japan, but really, Hikuleo, all right, I know he's someone that you're trying to build up. He's one of the Tamas, one of the Tongas, whatever. And like I know that's like a big thing for you. You want him to be as built up like his brothers. But on the flip side, like no, no, thank you. And like for Bay to be saddled with him was like weak.
Yeah, man, and it's interesting too, and it kind of, as much as we've loved and still say that like the greatest thing that probably came out of the Beyblade thing was the skate thing from the Twitter, but that's not even debatable. But like they haven't really done anything with the concept of an Impact branded Bullet Club.
No. To be fair, we don't know how much latitude they have with it.
Yeah,
Like they may have a lot of latitude with it. They may not have any latitude with it. So that's something I'm very much aware of. I did love the whole like Doc Gallows, who was it to Hikuleo, like, no, you do it down here, we do it up here. Now he's like, he also like we invented that. No, you didn't. Kevin Nash did. Fuck off. Fuck off hard. No. Fuck off. So Good Brothers retained. I think like Finjuice had like their final execution big move, and then Carl Anderson threw. I think it was Juice Robinson out of the ring and got the win. I did love the opening part though. David Finlay started off the match and fucking Juice Robinson's heckling him. Show him what your daddy taught you.
Juice is a national treasure, but yeah, like I big fan of Scott, but I think he's taking the more in his last name a bit too serious. We keep making these damn tag matches multiples.
Are
Like
we
make
not
it.
entirely sure that Teddy Long isn't wearing a Scott D'Amore fat suit?
I feel like all the great ideas we're coming up with. So this is why we can't book because it wouldn't be linear at all. Like our most entertaining parts of our show would be Lish and Teddy Long basically pulling what they did from Lovecraft Country, wearing white people's skin for the privilege to see what the privilege comes with it. But that would be hilarious if all of a sudden one of them weeks he just slips out of character and starts going full on Teddy Long. It's like he's getting punked by Taz, Kaz, Big Kaz, or Morrison. Like, ah, holla. Like, what? Like, what? He comes out, tell Moose you're going against the Undertaker. Like, just, oh man, that
Just
was,
just one night have him come out with like a little black veil, like from a wedding dress, and then he flips it off and takes the fake face off of him, and he goes, "It was me, Moose. It was me all along."
oh, oh man,
I need it.
brilliant.
I need it now. I've ruined my life because that is something I need that I'll never have.
Yeah, but it's interesting how they got to that match too, because they did a double count in the match on Impact. It's like, come on, bro. Like y'all could get more creative than this. This is a tad bit lazy, and it's like I do want the belts off these guys, but I don't care enough about them as performers to be like, well, they'll make them look strong. I don't care about them looking strong, them losing in a triple threat. They don't get pinned. Have Swan and Mac or another Impact team go in a 20-minute thing with them because they can go. We just don't like them. They can go and drop the titles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a simple thing. We don't need a four corners tag. We don't need triples. We don't need all these multiples. A team on team, y'all have the talent. Just let them go. Just let them go. But yeah, the heckling was hilarious.
Then we had Mickey James losing to, defeating Deanna Pratt to win the Knockouts title. I think a lot of people get high on their own fandom because I saw a lot of people celebrating this match, and I'm sitting there going, it took Mickey James like 5 minutes to do a move. Like,
It's back to what I said. It's her style. I just can't. It don't work with this. Like it's Deanna's on a different level for me than what she keeps going in that same style, and it's not really. She needs help with the DDT. She needs help. Like I don't like that there's press off the top. That the kick looks good when she actually lands it. It's
she's in fantastic shape. She looks
yeah.
fantastic. She's 42, but she's also 42. And she's been in this business for 20 years. If you want to sit here and be a fanboy and go, you still got it, fine, do it. Like, whatever. But you're wrong. She doesn't. She is maybe, what's the other chick's name? Jessie? Is she the non-tiny one in the inspiration?
I don't know at this point. I was still trying to figure out which were their old names.
Fair. So Jessica McKay is Jessie.
Yeah.
She's not an athlete. And I mean this with no disrespect. There are a lot of people in pro wrestling who aren't athletes. I don't know why. Just how it is. I would rather watch Jessica McKay wrestle. And I think she's right there with Havoc among the worst of the in-ring workers for the Knockouts division. I would rather watch either of those two, Havoc or McKay, than Mickey James. Because Mickey James isn't just unathletic anymore. Whatever athleticism she had is gone. She's never as athletic as Trish, let's be clear. And whatever athleticism she had in 2006, long gone. And this isn't some like, oh, she's terrible. She's been in the business for 20 years, at least. And has had countless, bumps, surgeries, issues with her knees, issues with her back. I don't expect her to be that wrestler anymore. Like, I can sit here and admit Sting is not as athletic as he was in 1997. That's not blasphemous. He's 60. He moves a little bit slower. It's to be expected. But when I see people kind of gloss over that and just kind of like live in their nostalgia, I lose respect for them. Because you can acknowledge someone isn't what they once were, but still be appreciative because you're a fan, they won, that makes you happy. But with Mickey, she's not on Deanna Pratt's level. She's not on any of the Knockouts Champions level. And I don't know why Impact thought that the person who had a hard time selling at the top of the card her first time through would be someone people would want to see Now, considering how bad her run in WWE was after she returned, she was there for what, 2-3 years? And it was probably more disrespectful to her than the whole Piggy James thing, because at least the Piggy James thing ended up with her getting the title and beating the bullies. So I don't know why they're like, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's take the person that got dog walked in WWE, make them the champion, and Kalu Calais. Now apparently they're going right into a Mickey James Mercedes Martinez program. I don't mind that. Martinez is 38 and she's been in the business for a long time as well, but she has kept her, like, she's never had a style that breaks down. Like it's the same thing with Rey Mysterio. People are like, well, he's only 45, but the dude's knees are like 92. And like he still does stuff occasionally, but like Marcus, do you remember his debut in 2002 with WWE and how just balls to the wall dynamic he was? He hasn't been that since 2007, Rey Mysterio.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Mysterio is always low down, and they, there was a great service done to him when he showed up in Lucha Underground.
Mm-hmm. They really made sure to accentuate the positives on Ray Ray. But like by 07, the knee injuries have taken a toll, and he was no longer the same worker.
Yeah.
Same thing with Mickey. Like she was a very high speed, compact dynamo in her heyday, but by 2011, you could tell that the years of trying to get big in the business have worn her athleticism down, have worn her knees down. She's no longer quick. She, like you said, she takes forever to do her springboard wraparound DDT. It's very evident that they didn't have, like, that she doesn't have what she once had, or even a fraction of it anymore. She's Michael Jordan in the Wizards. Like, sure, he still can put up 19 a game, but you can tell he's struggling.
It's interesting to me. That's why I said, like, I was hoping she might tweak her style a bit. Like, there was like, and I think I was the Mickey got years and experience on it, but that match that Deanna had at the NWA show with Melina was great. But Melina, obviously realizes that she might not necessarily be able to do what she once did, and she kind of honed her style around either where she is now physically, catered it to the opponent she was up against, which is a technical one against Deanna. It was a really bad styles clash with Mickey because it was like I said, it takes forever to do the stuff. Because I think she did the I want to say she might have did it wasn't Stratisfaction, that was on the Knockouts Knockdown, and Tasha was doing it, but those DDTs, man, specifically the one where she has to jump up off the mat, it rarely looks good. Like I said, those Thesz presses don't really feel like they ever are as impactful as they try to look. And against somebody like Deanna, it's just going to take way more than that. But because she's Mickey James, and again, feels like Impact is serving another company's narrative, eventually we knew she had to drop the title. But that match didn't even really touch some of the stuff that was on Knockouts Knockdown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know. Like, I get that she's a legend. You want to do a service and pay her respect, and certainly more than she got in WWE. She literally got trashed in WWE. So I get it. But again, even with Mercedes Martinez, who was the highlight of Knockouts Knockdown, one woman is with another company, and I don't think we have Mercedes signed, because I think her whole thing is kind of staying like a free agent that comes in and does a thing. So are we going to put another Impact title in potential limbo with a non-signed talent?
Yeah, I can see I can see that. For me, I'd rather it be Mercedes, because even though she's an older talent, I feel like she never got her break. And like that was always one of the things that disappointed, because I've been following her for a while. She's 40, actually. I thought she was 38. I watched her a lot in Shimmer, and she's one of those talents that, like, yeah, she can go. So I just would prefer to see someone who, just has more to offer as a first time run through. With Mickey, and like here's the thing. Like with Mickey, the issue has always been for me, she has no personality. She's just like, she is what you said she is. She's Mickey James. Like, that's who she is. With Sting, Ken Shamrock, Jazz, there's an element or mystique to them. They have this bravado, this temperament that makes you go, yeah, I want to see that. But Mickie James is never, like, outside of her crazed lesbian phase, like, her character's never been interesting. And, like, that's always been the biggest issue. Like, that's one of the reasons why I'm very happy to see Kimberly and, what's that? Brandy Lauren. That's why I'm
Yeah,
happy to see them with Rosemary, because even though it's not technically their gimmick, they're given something to do. Like, they're flexing.
yeah,
And, like, Kimberly, like, in Shikara was pretty charismatic. So, like, I know she can bring something to the table, but with Mickie, she never had. Like, outside of 2006 when she was playing the amped up crazy stalker, fresh off of her nude photos, because I don't know if you remember that, Mickie James was doing the sex work in early 2000s. But, like, besides coming in with that kind of history into that angle, like, she's never really brought that type of personality that would make you go, yeah, I got to tune in to see her. Like, Jazz was a heavy hitter. Like, Gail Kim was dynamic in the rings to such a degree for so long that she became transcendent. Trish Stratus, was gorgeous, but she was also crazy athletic. But what does Mickie James offer outside of, a dwindling style in the ring? I wouldn't say anything. And I think that's kind of the problem.
yeah. And when you see her in a pool of talent like a Ella Ring, a Grace, a Deanna, a Martinez, hell, even a growing Tasha Steeles,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, not height-wise.
yeah, yeah, and talent and ring ability is Tasha Steele, specifically in the singles capacity, and throw Rosemary in there too because we've seen her change up some of her stuff. She stands out in name only, but I don't want to see her. Like you could put on commentary, I think she'd be great for that, and she did that obviously on Knockouts Knockdown. And this is no disrespect, but she just does nothing for me in the ring. I'd rather see Melina in that spot. You
Yeah,
know,
I would too, truthfully. I think Melina still has a lot left in the tank. And I,
same.
I think, unlike with Ken Shamrock in MMA, I think one of the best things that, when people talk about with Ken Shamrock in MMA was his decline, because they always talk about how Ken, despite his enormous grappling and submission skill set, tried to brawl with people instead
Yeah,
of getting in close for the clinch and taking him down, because his knees and elbows had started to go from all the years of grappling. So they're like, why didn't he try to grapple more with people?
yeah.
Now,
It,
Melina's not grappling so much to that extent, but she has modified her game to a bit, and it's really paid off. But also, I don't think she's had as many major injuries as Mickie has. I could be wrong on that.
yeah,
So
it's
I think that's
yeah.
helped her.
I mean, and it does say a significant amount that she still is that limber.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the splits is not. I mean, if you they haven't done that in a while, or you getting a certain level of stiffness over years, you won't have to relearn how to do the splits. Like I've seen that a lot for people. So, kudos to her. Also, she can serve a double purpose. Like her flirting with Swinger, that can be a thing. She already flirted back and forth with Trey Miguel, and it's not a obvious conflict of interest having somebody like Mickey do it, who like we know your freaking husband is like Bram's boy. So it's like we, so it's like we not it doesn't work. But Melina could definitely pull it out off. She still has that sex appeal. Obviously she's older, but she still has that sex appeal, and she can go. And we know she has a mean streak, so I think she fits all those molds. But it's like like, oh, such and such. Oh, you don't want to go hardcore country on you? Like, okay.
That's an oxymoron. Hardcore country. Mark, just give me a score on Bound for Glory.
I'm gonna give Glory because this was in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Ironically enough, for some reason, it still felt like it was in
Because of the camera.
Nashville.
Because of the camera angle. They still
Yeah,
kept the same one. I don't know why.
yeah. Like, this is your biggest show of the year, man. This is when you do it big. I remember. I'll never forget. I think that Bound for Glory they had in Texas. I thought some years back. I think that was in Texas. I think Styles was still there. Um,
I don't know. I think they did a Slammiversary in Texas a few times
that might yeah, that might have been signed version. But
with
one of those
the return of James Storm, and then
yeah,
the Angle and Styles, and then I think the next year they did that year they did Styles and Angle in a tag team match, and then the year after that, maybe the
yes.
year after
Yeah.
that.
That's it. Because those shows felt like really big.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like I feel like you want to go all out for Bound for Gold, but it felt like an intimate, like an impact. And then, but like you said, that's because of the angle. Um, I think I'd give it a strong. I give it a strong 7.5.
Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit different with the scale. I'm gonna go with a strong B plus. So room for improvement, but overall a solid outing.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been an improvement because we've been shaking our head kind of on to the floor a bit for these last few years of Bound for Gold for whatever reason. It's like you get right up to the line and you refuse to cross it for some reason. Like it's your biggest show of the year, and like Slammiversary is the king every time.
Mm-hmm. It really
For
should be
some reason, but I
Slammiversary. I mean, that really is their big show, but for some reason they keep defaulting to Bound for Glory.
kudos to you because I do think you did ask that to Jeff Jarrett in your interview with him.
Yes.
And
God, that's a
yeah,
fucking throwback, man. You pulled that one out.
yeah. But I forgot exactly what his answer was, but I think
I
that's just
remember.
kind of the decision. Oh, okay.
Would you like me to remind you?
Please do.
I had something to do with the fact that, and you have to remember when he started the pay per view model for Impact in 2004 is when they started doing 3 hour once a month pay per views.
Yeah,
It was still very much in the paid for broadcast kind of thing. Like, what time of the year were people going to be most likely to buy pay per views? And for some reason, they did the research and they said October, November was the best time to do pay per views because everyone was home for school. It was during the wintertime in a lot of the northern states, so like people were going to be inside and looking for things to do. So that's why they're like, we're going to put our biggest show in October because it fits with the trend of pay per view purchasing. I don't think that ever actually ended up being something that benefited them, but maybe it did. Maybe the pay per view numbers would have been far, far worse. Who knows?
yeah.
So, yeah, that was the original reason. I always think that's kind of interesting, but what are you going to do? So, with that being said, three things should be noted. Apparently, what's his name? Bronson Reed, is that his name?
Yeah, Bronson Reed. Yeah,
He was booked for Bound for Glory, but at the last minute, the booking was canceled. More than likely because they didn't want to use him for the event itself, so they're going to probably debut him, if anything, at the tapings. Braun Strowman and Impact had conversations, but no deal was finalized that people are aware of. And Bray Wyatt was contacted, but they couldn't come to a figure for his debut, so I guess they're still negotiating or the negotiations are over. I'm not sure how I feel about any of that because I don't think any of those three guys are necessarily people that I'm going to enjoy watching. But if they help the numbers, bring in fans and get people excited, then, you know, I'm down.
yeah. I think of those three are more akin to liking concept of bringing in Bronson Reed because he doesn't have a f ton of old company stink to get off of him,
Mm-hmm.
a narrative or whatever. So it feels like he can start more fresher than the other two can because there's just a whole thing with Bray. Like he have to dive into a whole thing or it's gonna get instantly compared. And Braun's just like you said, aside from Buzz, he's kind of just the big guy that's there. And I'm like, we got Moose, Morrissey, um, Doring, and on a real good day, Fulton. Okay, so we don't necessarily need Strowman right now.
A good day or a bad day? Because I feel like that's a significant change. Just putting that one out there. Just putting that one out there. So let's move on. We have anything else from Impact you want to talk about?
No, that's it.
Like I said, we knew that this wouldn't be a long conversation, an hour long, obviously. So we'll just go on to the other big piece of news from this past weekend. Charlotte Flair, no one likes her.
I can't see why. She's like the technical Tori Wilson. That was just for Chad, people. That was just for Chad.
Marcus, there are a few reasons I'd slap someone. Besmirching the good name of Tori Wilson is among them.
Oh man.
I have a Tori Wilson poster of her on the WCW Nitro logo, which is in the middle of the ring. It's from 20 years ago, 21 years ago. Still have it. Still look at it. She's still gorgeous.
I wish we had the tech or the photo. We actually do have a photo. We had like 2 separate collages of Tori from then till now, and then Charlotte, because she also had an appearance in WCW.
Yeah, she did. Oh my God, that's right. With that Vince Russo segment.
And the transition of faces, because Tori still got the same face and body tone, same abs and everything. Because I don't think she has any kids. Oh my God, the consistency and the irregularity of it all.
Like Tori Wilson was one of those vapid, crazy chicks that are like, crystal energy and all that shit. But if you look at her, you're not going to go, oh, I can't believe that's Tori Wilson. You're going to look at her and go, oh my God, that's Tori Wilson. How do I still recognize her? Because she's still a fitness model. She's still crazy into health. She's fucking gorgeous. Like 46. God, that woman. But then you look at Charlotte, and it's like the one, the image I remember of Charlotte the most from that WCW was like her going away from Vince Russo.
Which we've all done. It's no form or another.
I'm gonna send the fucking photo because it's so cringe. Oh, it's not even the worst part of it, but like, it's pretty bad. Like
I remember that because
What's up?
Yeah, because I remember. I think we talked about that segment of video. She has on a red tank top.
Yeah.
Or a red shirt.
But there's a point in the video of the segment where like so the photo I sent you. That's the moment I'm talking about. But there's an even better part where she cranks her head a little bit more to the left and kind of crooks her head, and her eyes are just nothing but white. And like she kind of snarls a little bit, like she's afraid. I'm just like, oh, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen. She's been on a few episodes of WCW TV. That's the most notable one. And like the craziest thing is you will not recognize her. Like she has had quite a bit of plastic. I'm gonna send you 2 more images. And like, listen, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Like if you want to look plastic, you go and do that. You get to have that right. But if I think you look like a mannequin, I'm going to say I think you look like a mannequin. So the big hubbubaloo is surrounding the fact that Charlotte and Becky had the title swap. Now, apparently, Charlotte wanted to just drop the belt to Bianca Belair. Because I think Bianca Belair is on SmackDown, going to SmackDown, staying on SmackDown. One of those is accurate. And like, fair, okay. Be fair to Flair. But on the other hand, you're given a job to do. Just do the damn job. So Charlotte throws the belt down at Becky's feet. Or she grabs the belt from Becky and throws it to the ground. Or something like that. And Becky reciprocates. And apparently it was a big, bad thing. So then the two get into a backstage argument where they're screaming at one another. And there's been some conversations about Charlotte for the last few months about her attitude, if we will. And we've talked about it before. Like, she was on Good Morning America, I think. And she had the audacity to say, I'm tired of being known as Ric Flair's daughter. I want to have my own identity. And I hate the fact that these chauvinistic pigs won't let me have it. And I'm sitting here going, you have your daddy's music, you have your daddy's catchphrase, you have your daddy's moveset, you have your daddy's look. And then you have your daddy. How am I supposed to see you as anything other than daddy's girl when you yourself only want to be daddy's girl? Say what you will about Dustin Rhodes. No one's gonna sit here and go, "Oh yeah, he did it just like his daddy did." Dusty was the American Dwayne, the lispy, cowboy hat wearing, overweight, elbow throwing, polka dot wearing, dancing man. Dustin Rhodes went from the prodigal son. What was his original nickname? He was the. He wasn't the prodigy. What was it? The natural. He was the natural. Real boring ass gimmick. Then he goes to WWE and becomes Goldust, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Dustin Rhodes has the ability to be crazy dynamic on the mic. Then he became his own character. He became his own thing, and like even to this day with his, I don't want to say his retirement tour because like I don't know, but his next run, he's doing the half paint face. Like he's still being who he became popular as to a degree. But Charlotte is just Rick's daughter. Like that's all she's ever wanted to be. It's all she's ever allowed herself to be. And let's not be the people who are like, but that's the company. Nah, she's at a big enough level where she wanted to dye her hair black and call herself the darkness from the other side of the wall and do a move where she licks the back of her hand and smacks bitches. Like she'll get to do it. Like she's got enough clout to do that. So I don't want to hear that. Like she clearly is fine with being Rick's daughter until she's not. So, I've never liked her. I always thought she was boring as shit in the ring, on the mic, and in every other way possible. She's crazy athletic. I will never take that away from her. But
Yeah.
as a person, she's very hard to like. As a wrestler, she's very hard to watch. As a personality on screen, she's death.
No, man. Damn, you summed that up. I mean, you can't really say nothing else. Again, it's like when we talk about the Mickey James thing. It's like you can acknowledge the totality of something and still call a thing with still, liking them or not. But the whole concept of just because I like it, then it can't have no flaws, according to somebody else, is ridiculous. Like Charlotte, it's like you said, like I get it. You don't want to be the second coming of Ric Flair. You want to be the first Charlotte. But the first Charlotte's narrative is the female version of Ric Flair, severely more athletic. And that's about what it is. So, anything outside of that is going to be, come down to attitude and maybe being a better individual associated with their character outside of the ring than their father was when doing his heyday. So I don't know, man. I saw that segment. It was one of the worst segments in the modern day, and it was plenty of crap during those dome shows. That was horrendous, but that was bad, and you can tell there was some real tension. Like Becky, because apparently they were best friends, and that relationship has deteriorated over time. I think they said Becky said something about mentioned her being plastic, ironically, in a promo, and potentially this is just the hearsay of it all. That Charlotte took that wrong, and then Charlotte said something that made a Sunny Days comment that rubbed Becky the wrong way, and I guess with everything that happened with the belts in the ring, with the segment, it just all came to a head backstage, and maybe apparently they had to have Charlotte escorted from the building, to which she then went to Orlando to support Andrade. So I think it all comes down again to, because even if they have deteriorated in terms of friends, that segment is on the company.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole point of having to switch to belts is because of your shitty drafting choices. Because all these people that got switched and swapped, I never expected Roman to leave SmackDown. So don't continue to sell this narrative that it's random. The stuff is random. Ain't none of this garbage is random. It's all purposeful, and it's all purposefully shitty. This is the second time y'all done this. Y'all did it with the tag straps last year when you had the Street Profits swap with the Usos. I think they switched to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just.
Didn't they do that again this year? With the tag teams, or no? It was just last year.
No, I don't. Yeah, it was just last year, and then obviously with this particular bit. But this color coordinated brand crap, like just have a WWE title and or just do a world and or name them something else outside of the Raw and the SmackDown. Because if you're gonna do the stupid thing and have the champions traded every year and then have to have them swap titles, it don't nothing has importance. The way they threw those titles on the ground, they are as unimportant as that damn media championship we was just talking about.
Yup.
And and that's only been around what, a couple months. So it's
The media championship just debuted.
yeah. So it's like tell us something doesn't matter without telling us it don't matter.
Now, just for a point of emphasis, the issue allegedly started, according to Ollie Davis of Wrestle Talk. The issue started over a tweet. Charlotte had made some offhanded comment about Becky missing time because she wasn't tough enough or something to that effect. And this was right after Nia Jax broke Becky's face. Because Nia Jax is trash. So Becky responded with two photos. One of Becky's face being all mangled and mashed up. And the other one of just Charlotte's chest. And the caption read something. The caption read something to the effect of, "I took time off to fix my broken face," and then underneath the chest, "and I forget why you took time off."
I remember that.
Now, to be clear, at one point in time, now I know Charlotte Flair's had several breast augmentations done, but at one point in time, and I don't know if this was in, what was it, 2016, 2017 when Becky broke her face? At some point in time, Charlotte had a damaged implant, which are life-threatening, depending on the type of implant you have, because it's essentially toxic gel.
Yeah.
In some of them. In others, it's just saline, but in others, it's goop, just goop. So you want to get that shit out as fast as possible. And I don't know if that busted implant was when Becky's alluding to, but I also know that Charlotte has also taken time off other than that to have breast augmentation done. I think to have them replaced or something or other in a non-medical emergency situation. So I don't know if the two are parallel. Because if that was when Charlotte was having a leak in her implant and Becky took that shot, that's kind of a dick move on Becky's part. But if it's just a regular old augmentation, dick move on Charlotte's part. Now, granted, they're both being dicks. And the difference here is Becky's liked. She's popular. She's accepted by the media, by the mainstream fan base. So obviously Charlotte's the villain, but they're behaving in the same exact way. Like, their behavior's authentically the same. It's just some people can stomach Becky more than Charlotte, and that's the issue. I think they're both trashy. I don't like either of them. So, I'm good.
Yeah, I've always kind of favored, because I've appreciated Charlotte's work ethic and her athleticism and stuff, but she's been shoved down our throats to a nauseating degree, and her promos are cringe. And sometimes she just gets some bad angles. Becky, I've never really clicked with Becky as a performer. It's not saying that she can't go; she just doesn't click with me as a performer. And she came across a good bit of luck with that whole Nia Jax situation, which propelled her into what we get now with the whole man thing. But I've always kind of likened like the names like Sasha and Bianca and some others, and that's not just because they're black people, but they've always had a certain demeanor and about themselves on top of their skills. And whatnot. And Bayley, I thought, was brilliant over these last 2 years, going heel and changing up her whole thing. To me, her and Sasha kind of put themselves up like on two top tiers above Charlotte and Becky, even outside of having as many accolades. I mean, Charlotte has more accolades than probably all four, the other three in general, just because Charlotte must have this title fetish. But to me, they just stand out because they don't necessarily need the titles. Now, Charlotte's whole character is needing a title, and that's kind of becoming Becky's thing too. So,
yeah. Can we get rid of both of them?
yeah, that might be the final golden opportunity for us to get primetime Dana Brooke.
I like Dana Brooke. Like I like watching puppies run upstairs. I know they're not gonna do it, but I'm still pulling for them. Come on, you can do it. Come on, get up the steps. Little fucking puppy legs can't reach. Then they just sit down their little butts. They're kind of a little sad. Then they hear food, and they're like, "Never mind, I'm gonna go eat instead."
That reminds me of the 101 Dalmatians. I think obviously it was the animated one when they was running from either DeVille, they had to escape. It was either
fat fuck.
DeVille, yeah, Pugsley.
No, wasn't it Pugs? Was it Pugsley?
Pots, yeah, it's definitely we're talking about the same one, but it's
the fat one.
Watching him getting upset because he'd always eat and then have to run.
But Mama, I'm hungry.
You just ate. I know.
That could easily be a horror movie. Just Pugs, fat boy, just going, "I'm so hungry," and then he's eating the other 98 puppies. Oh,
it is that animated film. It is a horror movie. That is a horror movie, and Glenn Close doesn't get the credit she deserves for how she translated that character to the screen.
Yeah.
Boil them, dash them in the head. I don't care how you do it, just do it and do it now.
So that's it. We had Lucky, Penny, Old Towser, Danny, Scotty. Some of these aren't the Dalmatians. We had Rover, Spotty.
Lucky.
Yeah, Patch. I remember Patch. Patch was my favorite because he was the bad boy. He's all like, I'm a bad boy. And I'm like, ha, you're an idiot.
Oh, man.
Let's see.
Was one of them named, was the sister named Penelope or something?
No, Princess.
No, I got
Princess was one of the cows. Let's see. We're taking a detour. Hang on.
Yeah, Penelope, or as Booker T would say, Penelope.
Penelope. Oh, damn it, Booker T. Why you gotta be that way? Oh, it was Roly Poly. Roly, that's his name. Roly.
Roly.
Patch, Lucky, Roly,
man.
Penny, Freckles, and Pepper. They were the only
I think
ones
they ended
that
up getting caught. Yeah, I think they ended up getting caught because of Roly, because they all had to go through a little hole, and they couldn't get him out in time.
Yeah, it was in the. I think it was in the barn, and that's when the cows got involved.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, and you were right. The female's name is Penny.
Ah, gotcha.
There you go. A plump puppy who's always expresses when he's hungry.
Oh, plump puppy.
Yeah, it's plump, fat. No, fat. He's a fatty. I always hated that fucking dog. Not because he was fat, but he was the only one who fucking was obnoxious. Just so.
Yeah, he was obnoxiously fat.
No, he was just whiny.
He wasn't ironically fat. He was obnoxiously like, my fatness takes priority over the mission. It's like we're not even aging. We're always in danger because of our skin.
So I always liked this name, and if I ever have a daughter, I may name her this. And people may take a swing at me one day, but I really like the name Perdita. I have no idea what it means, but it's the name of the mom pup.
Oh. Yeah, that's a beautiful name,
right? Although it's like, did you really name your daughter after a dog? I'm like, yeah. And you gonna name shame her?
But man, after all the women I've come across, the young ladies come across named after cars. Thankfully, I haven't come across a Chrysler yet.
Oh yeah, I knew a Mercedes. She was exactly as trashy as you think she'd be. Apparently, there was a 101 Dalmatian street. This is new. When did this come out? 2019. Yeah, those are the things that didn't need to exist. Speaking of things that didn't need to exist, this podcast, it might be over for tonight, unless you have anything else you want to bring up.
No, that's about it. I think we covered pretty much everything. I'd recommend people go check out Knockouts Knockdown, and it's a great showcase of the women, and Bound for Glory.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get two separate scores, but they, for us, those are high. I mean, this was a better Bound for Glory executed from start to finish, I think, than the last few years. So So yeah, I think I'm definitely looking forward to these tapings, and for no other reason the fact that we're gonna have a literal killer in the Impact halls. So not in real life, but it feels that way.
We don't know that.
And we really don't. Like, so Haku and Minoru walk into a bar. Never mind, I'm out. I don't need to drink. I'm leaving. I don't go here. I'm not old enough.
Oh God, could you imagine Haku and Minoru Suzuki in anything together? Ugh, the violence.
Yeah.
The violence. That's
Like,
all it
why
would
don't
be.
y'all
Just
just shoot?
perpetual violence.
I'm like, just shoot the Raid 3. Just do it. Just shoot. Just film them getting into a bar fight and call it the Raid 3. Okay.
You know, Marcus, stop giving me ideas. That's fantastic. Fucking the next one, Halloween Ends, the third and final film, the Halloween trequel. Michael Myers comes walking out and he sees Minoru Suzuki just standing there smiling, and Myers takes off the mask, drops the knife, like, my bad. My bad. But then, like, Jason Voorhees shows up and he's all like, and then he sees Haku and he's like, nah, my bad. My bad. And then the Haku and Minoru fucking make eye contact in the last 40 minutes of the film. It's just them fighting all the way through eternity.
They go through all the horror villains, and it's Chucky that think he has the balls. Like, who the freak is this guy?
I was trained by Rick Steiner. I mean, that would explain his bravado. Still ain't gonna get you the win, though. Sorry, homie. All right, realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCORP.com. That's REALNERDCORP.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP, on Instagram at realnerdcorp, although we don't really use that, so don't worry about it. Marcus can be found on his Twitter account, ParadoxKid, PARADOXKID.
That's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Brandon Show, previously mentioned, at TRUEPENNYSHOW over on the Twitter. Go check them out, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. You can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, CHADNERDCORP, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut, CHADSPHOTOHUT. Be sure to check us out next Monday for another edition of the Wrestling Underground. For Mark Green, I'm Chad Porto. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. And remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.